Alrighty, so here is lesson 4, level 6, the Choose Your Own Adventures. I'll try to cram all of these into one video if I can, but my guess is I'll probably do A and then B, and then do the two painter ones on a different video. So these are all converting while loops to for loops. So just to review this, let me click on my popular names. I think I've reset this so I can do this from scratch. So in the names runner, I've declared a string array, which are the Jamaica names, and I've created a new names object. And that names object is Jamaica. Takes Jamaica as a string and takes this string array up here, takes the string array as a parameter as well. And I'm printing out a bunch of stuff, it appears. So here's my names class. In the names class, it declares an instance variable for a string, which is country names, and then another private instance variable, which is an array of strings, which is called popular names. And here is the constructor. Here is how I make a names object. I have to pass the country name, which if you recall was Jamaica, and then a string array, which was those popular names. And we have the usual getters down here and the toString method, which is what we're going to do first, because our only to-do list is turn this while loop into a for loop. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to like a multi-line comment this loop out. I don't want to delete it. And then I'll go right down here and I will comment that out. Perfect. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right here. I'll go for, and I want int index equals 0. And I want the index to be less than the popular names list. And it's length, if I could spell it correctly. And then I need my semicolon, and then I want to go index plus plus to add 1. That's going to increment my index every time. Curly brace and a space. And what I want to do is I want to do the same thing here. I want to do the result. So I really just want to do this puppy here. So I'm going to copy that and paste it there. And what that's going to do is every time I go through this loop, the first time through, the index is 0. So it's going to take the first name and print it out. And then it's going to create a new line. And it's going to keep doing that again. And it's going to keep doing this, like adding to this string, this result string. And eventually it's going to return it when I'm done with the loop. So let's see what this puppy does. There you go. Looks like it worked. Let's test it. Should we test it? Sometimes, oh, I got that check mark. So let's go ahead and do B. So here's the UV index. Now I've done this once already, so what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to go to my version history and reset this. But my guess is going to be pretty much the same thing that we just did. In the UV runner, I've got an array of strings, which are states, and I have an array of integers, which are the UV rates. I am creating a new UV index object that is called state rates. And I'm doing the typical new UV object, and I'm passing it the states, which I believe might be an array, and rates, which I believe would be those ints. And then I'm going to print that puppy out. Let's go to the UV index class. So in the UV index class, it declares an instance variable that is an array of strings right here, and it's called state names. And then there's also an array of integers, which are called rates. And the constructor is, I pass it a string of state names, and I pass it a string of rates. And then we're going to print that puppy out. Now I want to convert this while loop again to a for loop. I think the only thing that is going to be different now is the result is going to take whatever the state name is, and then it's going to do a colon, and then it's going to put the rate, the associated rate that goes with that at that index. So I'm going to use that. I don't need this. I don't need this. And I don't need this. And I'll go ahead and I'll leave that there. I'll add a loop here. So I'm going to go for int for my index, which is what they used right there, equals 0. And then I'm going to go, I want the index to be less than. I can choose either one of those lists. There should be the same number of elements in each list. If I was smart, I would take the minimum length, but I will use rate, since it's less to type in, dot length. And then I want to take my index and I want to increment it by 1. And I'm going to put a curly brace there. And so this really is all I need to do. I need to put my for loop statement there. My result statement is going to be the same thing. I'm going to return the result. Let's see what happens. Yep, and there it goes. So it printed out the states and their associated UV indexes. And if I test it, that seems to work okay. So I'll stop this video here, and I will put the other two Choose Your Own Adventures for this level. I'll put those in a different video.